we go. Okay, so here's the agenda for today's meeting. I just want to talk a little bit about the viewpoints exercise. Do I? No, I don't think I do. Do you? Let's let you guys run this meeting because clearly I'm not up to it. You guys want to talk about the viewpoints exercise, learning to recognize political viewpoints? Right here.
Sure.
Anybody have anything interesting to say about this? Did you discover anything interesting? Did you see the video that I made for you explaining it, giving you the examples? Give me a thumbs up if you saw the video. I posted it. I don't know if anybody ever watches the videos. And it's kind of time consuming to make them. There's a whole process in making those videos. First, I got to make the video, then it has to convert, and that takes forever. And then I have to upload it to YouTube, and that takes forever. And then YouTube has to process it, and that takes forever. And for some reason, the closed captions aren't working. YouTube's supposed to automatically close caption it. Anyway, but if you saw the video where I did a demonstration, give me a thumbs up if you saw that. It wasn't a requirement that you watch it. I just want to know if you saw it. I posted it in an announcement. Nobody else. Okay. Well, thank you, Emilio. Emilio watched it. Yay, one person. Okay. All right. So did you guys do this? How many of you did this assignment? Daniela did it. Okay, the rest of you didn't do it? Didn't do this viewpoints assignment? This one where you're asked to look at 4 publications, 1 in each of these categories. We talked about it last week in class. I just went over this in class. I didn't do a demonstration of how to do it. Did any of you guys do it? Just besides Amelia, who was that, Daniela?
I did it.
Thank you. Okay, so 2 people did it. Come on, you guys. I want to know if you guys did it.
I also did it.
Okay, Marcella. I guess I could just look at my grade book and see who did it. I haven't had time to do that because I've been grading English 1A essays. I have scores of them, and they are incredibly time-consuming to grade. All right. Well, let me just do a quick demonstration with one of these for you, okay? Rather than have us talk about it, because, you know, it's pretty straightforward, okay? Let me do a demonstration. I need to go here. This is what I made a video of and posted. This demonstration I'm about to do for you. Illustrating the purpose of this assignment and how to go about doing it. Where is it? Oh, it's here. It's here. Okay. No, it's not there. It's further research. It's here. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is a couple of examples of articles from news magazine websites in those categories. This one is from Mother Jones, which is a left progressive publication. And this one was originally posted in the New Republic, which is a neoconservative publication. So I'm going to take a look at the Mother Jones one. I want to open you with you guys just real quick to show you what the purpose was of this assignment. Open that link, please. There we go. All right, there it is, Mother Jones. Oh, and there's an ad. So I don't want it, but it's useful to us in talking about the purpose of this assignment, because one of the things I asked you to do is look at the ads in these publications. Go to the homepage of the website. Go to articles, because there are ads all over them, right? That's how they stay in business, and we're going to talk more about that when we talk about SA3 and the concepts that relate to it. So this is an ad for World Animal Protection. Urge state governments to set policies that increase protections for farmed animals at high-risk areas. Okay, and guys, this is not an ad that would appear in the New Republic or any of those neoconservative or even conservative publications, because they know, as we discussed for SA2, they know their audience. Okay, the people who want to sell you stuff, the people who want to sell you policies and programs and ideals know their audience. They know what their audience values. They know what it believes in. They know what it cares about, what it's interested in. Okay, and they don't want to pay to put their ad in a publication where nobody's going to care, right? They want to put their ad in a publication where people are going to be positively disposed towards the message in the ad. And for the Mother Jones audience, this is an ad that's going to work, right, you guys? We talked about this with the Greenpeace ad. It's the same concept. This is an ad that's going to work for the Mother Jones audience, a left progressive audience, because they care about farmed animals. All right, does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if what I just said made sense. They care about farmed animals. So that's what, and this ad gives you information. Thank you, you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Pedro, Emilio, Daniela. This ad gives you information about the political viewpoint of this publication. Okay, you know who they're writing for and who they're publishing for, right? And what their viewpoints are going to be on all kinds of issues, everything that they write about. Okay, and then another thing I asked you guys to do, see if I can X out of this. Yes, I can. Google, criminy. I think I need to refresh. Sorry, I keep moving you guys around. I think I need to refresh to get this to go away. Yeah, okay. Then another thing you guys can do is you can go to the home page. This is where you'll end up if you just search for Mother Jones in Google. You'll end up at the home page. And then you look at the home page, you can see who the editor is and read about her. Okay, and then you can look at the other articles that they cover, right? And the kind of topics that they publish articles about. Just start with that. What are they covering? Okay, look at this title, and then you can look at the titles. This is about the debate last night. Kristen Welker asked Donald Trump about immigration. Yes, and his answer was both disgusting and false. So, I mean, it's pretty clear where they stand on Donald Trump, right? Trump insists he can't be a racist because he signed a criminal justice bill. They're sneering at that, clearly, right? And this one, yes, Trump was calmer in debate too. He's still a narcissist with no sense of empathy. You know, they're not beating around the bush here. Oh, and look at this. What do you think they think about the nomination of this woman to the Supreme Court? Do you think they think it's a good idea to put her on the Supreme Court? You guys? You think that they think that Amy Coney Barrett should be on the Supreme Court? Yes or no?
No.
Thank you. Clearly, right? Least experienced. It's obvious. Okay, and here, let me put my chat up. See if people are chatting at me and I don't know. Nope, nobody's chatting at me. Okay. And that's what we're doing here. When we go back to this article, we're going to do a little bit more of that with David Korn's article. So here it is right here. I said, look at one article at least. Right, and oh, there's an ad for the New York Times. Right, and there's other, it's probably going to be, I have ad block on, so I'm not going to get too many ads. All right, okay, let me move this over. Okay, but this is the article. It's by David Korn. And we can just start by looking at its title. I gotta move my chat again. And my Zoom window. Put you guys over here. Okay, Mitt Romney, the softer side of a hard right campaign. All right, and just for context, this is an article written about, if you didn't know, Okay, the 2012 election, there's the date right there, 2012. All right, and it's on the occasion of this guy giving his acceptance speech at the Republican Nominating Convention, the RNC, okay, where he accepted their nomination to run against Barack Obama in 2012 as a Republican. And so Korn is writing about that. He's writing about the speech that Romney gave. And this is the title that he's given his article, Romney's Speech, The Softer Side of a Hard Right Campaign. That's what it says. I'm sorry I have to keep moving crap around. This video is going to be crazy. All right, the softer side of a hard right campaign. So right there in the title, what Korn is saying about this speech is that Romney is trying to present himself as a moderate. And again, Korn is writing for a left progressive audience. People who are Democrats, probably, right? Or left-leaning independents, right? And if Romney can present himself as a moderate, then those people might not be as worried, right? And they might not go out to vote. They're like, oh, I don't care. It doesn't matter who's president, right? I'm sure you've all heard that before, maybe even said it. But I got news for you. It matters. It matters who's president. But anyway, so Korn is saying that Romney's trying to present himself as a moderate. But Korn is saying, nope, he's not. He's hard right, okay? If you guys thought it wouldn't matter, you better think again. All right, and then the subtitle makes that totally clear. Oh, good, that's a good place for my Zoom window, except I can't see you all. There we go, now I can see more of you. I hate Zoom. Have I not said that already? Just to be clear. All right, then the subtitle really clarifies that for you if there was any doubt left by this title. He says the GOP nominee played it safe, but the convention made clear that he and Paul Ryan, the VP running mate to Romney, aim to radically reshape America. Radically. Okay. What does radical mean, you guys? Do you know?
Like extreme?
Yeah, extreme. It literally means root, to uproot something, to go to the root of something, radical. Radish is a root, right, you guys, a vegetable? Okay, so that's where it comes from. It comes from the root of something. To radically reshape, to uproot America. Korn is saying that that's what Romney wants to do. Okay, so how's his left progressive audience going to feel about that? How are they going to feel? What is Korn trying to do here to his audience? What's the appeal that he's making? If you're familiar with rhetorical appeals and Aristotle and all that stuff. Ethos, pathos, logos. What's the appeal he's making? How does he want his audience to react to this claim that he's making about Romney's speech and Romney's candidacy? This is a softball question, you guys. Are you just too tired to answer? If you're just too tired to answer, put your thumbs up. I'm really too tired to be here too, but I am because it's my job. And your job is being a student. You're too tired to answer. All right, I'll tell you. He's trying to scare his audience. He's trying to scare them, right? It's an appeal to fear. It's a pathos appeal. Appeal to fear. All right, so Korn is trying to scare his audience about the potential of a Romney presidency. All right, and that's why all of this language, remember I asked you to look at the rhetoric because language conveys an attitude towards the subject. He could have picked different neutral words. He didn't. He picked these words on purpose. Okay, let's see. I gotta move my Zoom window again. There we go. Let's look at a couple words, a couple of lines from this first paragraph here. All right, so that's the title. It's pretty clear where Korn stands, what his viewpoint is, his political viewpoint, right? This is practice in recognizing those. With the Republican convention in Tampa, Mitt Romney has launched the most ideological presidential campaign in recent history. Ideological is not good, you guys. Okay? Again, Corn's audience, that's going to scare them. And it's going to scare most people. Most people don't want an ideologue for president. Okay? An ideologue is a person who is committed to an ideology, a set of beliefs, and doesn't listen to other people who have different beliefs. Most people don't want that in a president. Oh, there goes my neck. All right, we have a president right now who is problematic in my opinion, but he's not an ideologue unless the ideology is Trumpism. One could argue that he has created a new ideology. It's not conservative or liberal. It's just Trump. It's what's good for Trump. Okay? And even conservatives will agree, most of them. Most of them are just going along with Trump because, you know, he supports some of the issues that they care about, that they believe in, that is part of their ideology. Okay, so, but most voters, you guys, most people are moderates. Most people don't want radical change. Most people don't want an ideologue, okay, in the White House. They want a reasonable, moderate person who, you know, might change some things, but he's not going to radically reshape America. He's just going to tweak around the edges a bit, okay? And I keep saying he, right? And that's on purpose because we've never had a woman president. All right. So, and then Corn goes on, at issue is not merely the current state of the economy and Romney's ability to become the CEO in chief, which Corn later says is doubtful. And Corn says this because Romney is selling himself as a businessman and the economy is in trouble in 2012. So, you know, Romney's argument to his audience is elect me because I can fix the economy. I'm a businessman. I'm a successful businessman. Corn later says, no, he's not successful. Okay, but in the meantime, he's going with that and referring to Romney as CEO in chief. This is doing a lot of work in this sentence, this CEO in chief hyphenate. All right, we're familiar with this in chief hyphenate as the way the president is referred to in a lot of the different functions that he performs in the government. He's the chief executive officer of the economy. That's what CEO means, the president. But he's also the head of the military. So commander-in-chief is another hyphenate that is often applied to the president. But here Corn is saying by referring to him only in this way, that Romney's only pitch for why he would be a good president is that he can be a good CEO in chief. And that's not enough. And Corn is saying all of that right here in this little construction here, this hyphenated construction. All of that is right here. That is being conveyed in this language, a political viewpoint. All right. And then he goes on to say that Romney's going to conduct a conservative social experiment. That's pretty straightforward. And the audience doesn't want that. We don't want a president experimenting. We want a president who knows what he's doing, or she. We want a president who knows what they're doing, not one that's experimenting. All right. So that was the purpose of this assignment, is to get you guys to look at these publications, 4 of them, okay, and identify the political viewpoint that's being conveyed by all the different stuff in the publications. And I hope that's clear. All right. So that was that. All right, let's talk about these. This will be much funner, I hope. Questions for analysis on the documentary. I'm going to zoom window over again in the chat window. Even though no one's chatting at me. Okay, so you guys, what does obfuscate mean? And you know what? I'm going to put these. I'm going to put these in chat because I want to be able to see you better. Those of you whom I can see. All right. Now they're all in chat. Okay, and I'm going to stop sharing because it's awkward. All right, and then There's all your little black boxes, but I can see them light up better if they're all in a row. If anybody wants to show me your face, that would be lovely. But I understand if you don't. Okay. So these are the words that you were asked to define right here in the chat. Obfuscate, echo chamber, fairness doctrine, journalism, propaganda, pandering, and fourth estate. Let's start with obfuscate. Okay. What does that mean, you guys? First, I just want to know what the literal definition is of the word. What does it mean? And then I'm going to ask you guys to tell me why I asked you to define this word in the context of a discussion about the documentary Outfoxed. So what does it mean? And I'm assuming that you guys have this work that you did accessible, because that's how you need to be prepared for this meeting. You had fair warning that we were going to talk about this in this class. But if you need to go get it so that we can talk about it if you don't remember.
It is to make something less clear. I mean, more
Yes.
difficult to understand.
Yes, Amelia, I'm sorry I cut you off. I can't see you, so I don't have any cues about whether or not you're done talking. And even then, sometimes I cut people off because Zoom sucks. But yes, you're exactly right, Emilio, right? Is to make something less clear, obfuscate. Why am I asking you to define that word in the context of a conversation that I want us to have about Outfoxed? How does it relate to that documentary? And the argument that they're making about Fox News. What is the argument they're making about Fox News? Let's just start there. What's the argument the documentary is making about Fox News? And then we'll come back to obfuscate.
How the news try to manipulate the people?
Yes.
By obfuscating the news?
Yes. That Fox News is trying to manipulate its audience. Okay? And it's trying to manipulate its audience for what purpose, you guys? How do they want their audience to think? In what way do they want their audience to think about the kinds of things that they report on Fox News? What viewpoint does Fox News have? Sorry, Emilio, you were about to speak. Go ahead.
On a conservative way?
Conservative, yes. So the documentary is arguing that Fox News is pushing a political conservative viewpoint, right? When it shouldn't be, right? And someplace in the documentary, because as we talked about last week, typically, traditionally, journalism has been objective. And that is really the role of journalism in our society, is just to inform us, not to try and support one political viewpoint or another. The news media shouldn't be supporting any political viewpoint. You shouldn't be able to tell what a news person thinks about a topic or something that happened or a candidate, right? They're just supposed to be telling you what that candidate thinks or what the facts are about what happened. And they can report on political viewpoints, right? They can say, conservatives think this about this issue. And they can say, liberals think that about this issue, right? But they themselves should not be pushing any political viewpoint. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to be in journalism. And that's the way it needs to be for our democracy to work. And this is another thing that the documentary talks about. The journalism's job, the news media's job, is to inform us, citizens in a democracy, so that we can make our own decisions about who and what to support with our vote and the other things that we can do as citizens. Okay? So Outfoxed is making the argument that Fox News isn't doing that, A, and B, they're lying about it, right? Remember, one of the people in the documentary says, my problem with Fox News is not that they do opinion journalism, right? Opinion journalism is a legit form of journalism. It just shouldn't be so dominant. It's become more dominant now, okay? But his problem with Fox News is that they're misrepresenting themselves, okay? They represent themselves as fair and balanced. And they're anything but fair and balanced. They're very, very, very clearly and obviously conservative in their reporting. All right, so that's the argument that the documentary is making. Now let's go back to obfuscate. Okay, why did I ask you about obfuscate in the context of that topic, the documentary? How does it relate? I'm looking for a tissue. My nose is running. I don't see one. Oh, well. How does it relate? What did you guys write? Did you just define the word? Yeah? And you didn't think about how it relates to the documentary yet? We're just doing that right now. Is that the case? Give me a thumbs up, you guys. Thank you, Alexandra. I appreciate that. Thank you. It is very lonely out here in full color land. Everybody else is black and white. Emilio's lagging. That's fine, Emilio. I understand. I understand. Like I said before and many times previously, Zoom sucks. Being like this is terrible. Okay. Anybody have any ideas about how the concept of obfuscation, which is making something less clear, relates to the documentary?
Because like Fox headline news like tends to, I guess, over exaggerate, or not over exaggerate, but like try to draw you in with the headlines.
Yeah. And are they trying to make things clear for their audience?
No, like that's the reason why you need to go and watch it to clear.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Deanna.
Well, that's why they want to draw you in, is like to confuse you on what it's really going to even be talked about, and then by the time you're there, then you understand.
You do? So when you watch Fox News reporting, you guys, do you feel like you understand issues better? Does anybody watch Fox News in this meeting?
No, not me.
Okay. But okay, so then let's just draw on the examples that the documentary gives. From the clips of Fox News reports that you saw in that documentary, did you feel like their purpose was to clarify issues for their audience, to clearly explain things to their audience so that their audience would understand them? Or no?
In reality, no. But I feel like that's what news are supposed to be for, and I don't think they do that.
Yeah. This is the problem I'm having now, right? Because of this trend in journalism. This is the problem I'm having teaching this assignment to students, because of the trend in journalism that's been ongoing for like the last 20 years, right? It's really ramped up in the last decade or so, last 10 to 15 years. This trend from objectivity in news reporting to opinion in news reporting. Okay, there's been a slide, and that's what that lecture that I asked you guys to read in Canvas talks about. There's been this slide, and it started with Fox News started it. They started it, but they did. And then other news organizations saw what Fox News was doing and having success doing. Because what's the purpose of news media, you guys? What's the purpose of Fox News and CNN and NBC and CBS and the New York Times and the Washington Post and all of these news organizations? What do they want? What is the reason for their existence? Is it to inform people? Is that the main purpose that they exist?
To gain audience.
And why do they want audience, Virginia?
Um,
Why do they want lots and lots and lots of people to watch their programs? What do they
I'm
get
not
from that?
sure. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, think about it. What do you guys think? Why do TV programs care if anybody watches? What do they get?
Rating.
Money?
Ratings. Someone said ratings. And why do ratings matter? What benefit is ratings to a television program?
I think more views equals more money too.
That's it. That's it. Okay, it really is that simple, right? It really is. Money, 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 money. That's it. That's what they want. Okay, they want people to watch because the more people watch, the more they can charge for advertising. Does that make sense, you guys? They can
Yes.
go, thank you. They can go to people who want to advertise somewhere so that lots and lots of people will see their product and want to buy it. And they can say, the news organizations can say to, I don't know, who advertises on Fox News? I can't think. They can say, I'll tell you who advertises on the shows I watch. Manscaping Tool. I usually, I mute the ads, but I still see them sometimes. So they can say to these people who made this manscaping tool, hey, people who made the manscaping tool, a bunch of guys in this age range watch our shows. If you put your ad on in our programs, lots and lots of people will see it, and you'll sell lots and lots of manscaping tools. And then the news organizations can charge those people who made the manscaping tool and want to sell it a lot more for that ad to be broadcast. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you for the response. You guys, does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if what I just said makes sense. Okay. It's a big money game. All right. So they want people to watch. What kinds of stuff do people like to watch? Do people like to watch, you know, boring news and information? People like to watch reality TV right now, you guys, don't they? Aren't those the kind of TV programs that get the biggest audiences? Reality TV, game shows, stuff where there's lots of conflict, lots of drama, right? Lots of lots of humor, funny stuff. That's what
Yeah.
people want to watch. Sorry, Virginia, go ahead.
No,
Were
I
you
was gonna
saying-
say, for example, like the Kardashians. Well, I don't watch it, but I know a few people that do watch the Kardashians, keeping up with the Kardashians, and um, yeah, they're like obsessed with each character, or they hate one character and they love the other. So it's just, and it's like, a family TV show, and it has a lot of drama, a lot of, tea and stuff. So I think that's the TV show that people are interested in watching.
Yeah, people love the tea. People love the girl fights. You guys, oh, I know way more about the Kardashians than I want to. Why? Because they're everywhere. They're everywhere. I can't, like, didn't two of them just had a fight? And I
Yeah.
really don't care, but I know about it, right? But that's the thing. People are into that. That's what people want to watch. Okay? So these news programs figured that out. Fox News figured that out. And it said, you know what? We need to make our news programming more interesting to people. All right. We need to increase the yelling on our news program. Guys, news reporters aren't supposed to yell at their guests and call them stupid names and stuff. Right? Let's let's increase the conspiracy theories because people love those. People love a good conspiracy theory, don't they? Right? And conspiracy theories are incredibly obscure, right? Conspiracy theories are obfuscationist. It seems like maybe there's a thread of something there, but it's all convoluted, right? And it's all complicated and illogical, right? That's obfuscation. And so that's just a news organization that wants to make money. All right, they're going to increase that so that they can get more people watching their broadcast and make more money. And then there's Fox News, that not only do they want to make money, and they very much do, but they also want to push this conservative political viewpoint, right? And oftentimes the arguments that they're making for their viewpoint are not very good arguments. So how do they win? They obfuscate, right? Rather than clarifying things, they make things less clear for their audience. And what happens when people are yelling or when people feel like they can't possibly understand something fully? What do? When it's an issue of public policy, how are you guys voting on the propositions? Do you understand them? Do you understand Prop 22, you guys? Do you know what I'm talking about? Prop 22 is the Uber Lyft gig driver proposition, right? In California, there was legislation in California to force these companies to make their drivers full employees and give them benefits. And the companies didn't want that to happen because that would be expensive for them. So they proposed this alternative. That's Prop 22. It's not full employee benefits for the drivers. It's something a little less than that. But you guys, I got an email from Lyft about this, telling me that it's what drivers want. I deleted that email outright. Did we talk about this already? That must have been my other class. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I do. I've seen a lot of advertisement for it.
Yeah, and they've got Moms Against Drunk Driving on there, telling you to vote for Prop 22, right? And they're not trying to clarify it for people. They're trying to make it as confusing as possible, right? Or they're trying to oversimplify it so that you don't fully understand its complexities, right? Either way, they want to win. And Fox News wants to win. They want to win the conservative viewpoint argument, as we said before. And if the facts are not on their side, right, then they're just going to make it more confusing for folks. So what happens when people feel like they can't understand something, you guys? What do? Do they drill into it and do their own research? Sorry, Deanna, go ahead. I'm getting upset.
Like most people just go with the majority instead of thinking or doing the research on their own.
Yeah, they go with the majority or they just check out, right? They just say, oh my God, I'm turning this off, right? And they check out. Isn't that right, you guys? Do you guys know people who don't vote? I know all of you are going to vote, right?
This is my first year able to, and so my whole family understands. I'm like, let me know if you need any help, any explanation, any research. I'm here.
Good. Don't let them tell you your vote doesn't matter, you guys. It doesn't matter as much as it should, right? Because of the Electoral College. You guys know what I'm talking about? Give me a thumbs up if you're out there. Are you out there? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. The Electoral College, you guys know what that is? Can somebody explain the Electoral College? You can type it into chat, you can speak. How does it work?
Electoral College are representative vote from each state.
Yeah. So our vote is diluted, right? Especially in California. It's not one person, one vote because of the Electoral College. Okay, we vote for a president, and then we get a certain number of electors in California. And then those people go and cast their vote. The number of electors that we get is based on the population, but it's not a one-to-one. There's not going to be however millions of people live in California going to cast their vote for president. Okay, so that people in Wyoming, right, have more say in who's president than we do, because there are fewer people in Wyoming, but they have a certain number of electors. Okay, but guys, if you don't like that, then vote, right? And vote for representatives that will change it, that will get rid of it, right? And then even if the people who you voted for, because the person that you really wanted wasn't running, or the people who are running don't agree with you on everything, then you stay engaged and you push them. You make them do what you want. That's our job as citizens. It's not vote and go, okay, I did my part. Now you guys go fix everything. No, you have to stay on them. I'm sorry, I'm ranting. It's the season for this type of rant. Okay, and this is still all related to Outfoxed, believe it or not. Okay, because they're part of the campaign now to scare people about voting. That's what they're doing on Fox News right now. If you watch Fox News, right, they're going to tell you mail-in voting is not secure. You guys don't do it. Okay, which is kind of stupid because they want their audience to vote, right? They just don't want. Okay, they don't want liberals to vote. They don't want people who will vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to vote, or who will vote for, you know, the different senators around the country who are Democrats. They don't want those people voting so that their guys win. Okay, but obfuscate, it's about suppression, and we've come full circle, right? That's how they win. If they can't win the argument on the facts, then they can obfuscate and they can confuse people so that people won't participate. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you, Virginia. Rest of you guys, did that make sense to you? All the words that just came out of my mouth? And what Deanna and I were saying about voting in the Electoral College and obfuscation? Steve, does that make sense to you? I don't think I've seen your thumb yet. Are you there? Maybe I haven't, I just don't remember. Steve, you with me? Steven, are you with me? No? Can you type in chat, Steve? How about you, Pedro? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, so that's obfuscate. That took a long time. All right, but that was a good, fairly wide-ranging conversation. What about echo chamber? What does it mean and how does it relate to the documentary?
As far as I understand, it's when someone repeat the story over and over and over again until the audience is convinced.
Yes. Yes. And did you see an example of that being given in the documentary, of an example of the echo chamber and how that works in news media?
Mm-hmm.
Virginia or anybody else? How about you, Marcella? Did you see an example in the documentary? Let me ask you guys this. How many of you watched this documentary? Maybe that's my problem. Give me a thumbs up if you watched it. Sanya said yes, thank you. Okay, Emilio, I think you watched it, right? Did you watch the documentary, Emilio?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. I thought so, because of your response earlier. All right, so most of you watched it. I think I only saw a couple boxes not light up, and a couple thumbs missing thumbs. All right, so tell me then, I know that you saw multiple examples of this effect, the echo effect or the echo chamber. And they talk about it explicitly in the documentary. Echo chamber, echo effect. Give me some examples or an example. It doesn't have to be a specific one. Just a general.
I feel like the one when they were saying that guy was French, the one that was running against George W. Bush.
Yes, perfect.
That's American.
Yes, sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, it's fine.
That's a good one, right? And the echo effect with that was the repetition. Like they were calling him a flip-flopper, right? And they were calling him French. And every single show on Fox News was using that same language, creating that repetition. That's the echo chamber. That's what an echo is. And Virginia explained this. It's a repetition of the same talking points. All right, throughout Fox News reporting, a bunch of different shows calling this guy a flip-flopper and referring to him as French, which they tried to make be a bad thing. Oh my God, you guys. I'm so ready for this to be over. And then what are some others? That was a good one. What are some other ones? Because this isn't just limited to Fox News, this echo chamber effect, right? Is that other news organizations pick up on these talking points and repeat them, right? And then as Virginia explained, for someone who is not really paying that close attention to the facts and or not doing their own research, that gives them the impression that this is true. This stuff is true. If you're hearing this stuff or reading this stuff across a range of different media outlets, that's going to make you think, oh, that must be true. If all these different people are saying the same thing, right? Okay, let's move on. Fairness doctrine. What's that? We talk about it in the documentary. They give you a definition, or you could look it up. What'd you guys put? Nobody put anything for fairness doctrine? Alexandra, what did you put for fairness doctrine? Did you do this, first of all? Alexandra?
Yes, I put policy that required broadcast to present controversial issues in an honest, equitable, and balanced way.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that contribution. Yeah, so fairness doctrine means you've got to be literally fair in representing viewpoints on issues, as Alexandra just explained. Okay, so do you guys remember that line graph of Republicans and Democrats invited to Fox News programs to give their viewpoints? Remember that line graph that they show in the documentary of the number of Republicans that are invited to speak and give their viewpoints on Fox News programs versus the number of Democrats that are invited? Do you guys remember that? Give me a thumbs up if you remember that graph. It shows the number of people. Okay, thank you. Right? Who do they invite more? A lot more. It's not just a little bit more, right? It's a lot more Republicans, right, than Democrats. That is a violation of the fairness doctrine in news reporting. Okay, so we've sort of talked about journalism a bit already. I've explained in my introduction to the documentary into Essay 3 that traditionally journalism is supposed to be objective, right? It's supposed to be objective. And you know, there are still news organizations that do objective news reporting. But like I said before, there's been this trend started by Fox because other news organizations saw how much money Fox News was making doing news the way they were doing news. And then CNN, which already existed and used to have a really good reputation, you guys. CNN used to be the gold standard in news and information in cable news. They started doing news the way Fox News does news, not necessarily to push a political viewpoint, although Donald Trump would argue that not only is CNN fake news, but they're liberal fake news, right? But really, you guys, CNN is just wants to make money. And so they, you know, they use some of the same techniques, some of the same framing techniques that Fox News pioneered to garner a larger audience. But that's why I asked you about journalism, because it's supposed to be objective, right? And propaganda just means that, give me a definition of propaganda that you guys found. The word comes up in the documentary. They don't really define it for you, so you probably had to look it up. What is propaganda? Your book talks about it. Your book talks about propaganda.
Biased information.
Yes, biased information. And again, another attempt, thank you, Alexandra, another attempt to manipulate the audience. Propaganda is. Okay, there's lots of propaganda out there right now about coronavirus, you guys. Especially coming from conservative media, which didn't used to be a thing. We didn't used to have a conservative and a liberal media. Okay, back to my point about journalism. That's new. That's relatively new. But yeah, there's a lot of propaganda about coronavirus, right? And if you pandering to the audience is another way to propagate something. Propagate means to make more of something, right? And propaganda is a message that's trying to push a particular way of looking at something. And then pandering is just when you say whatever the audience wants to hear to that audience so that they'll like you. Okay? Mitt Romney, when he was running for president, was accused of pandering. In that he would get in front of different audiences and say different things, different contradicting things. Like he'd say one thing in front of a anti-gun control audience, and then an entirely different thing in front of a gun control, pro-gun control audience. That's pandering. And then the fourth estate is the most important thing we need to understand for this conversation and for essay 3. What's the fourth estate, you guys? Somebody else tell me. Nobody know? What did you guys looked it up, right? You did this, you submitted it to Canvas. What'd you put? Just tell me what you put for the fourth estate.
I put that the fourth estate refers to the press and news media both in explicit capacity of advocacy and implicit ability to frame political issues.
Okay. All right. And so what's the job of the fourth estate? What are they supposed to do? Can you summarize that for me? And the fourth estate refers to the news media, as Yesenia just explained. And so what's their job? Somebody summarize it. What are they supposed to do? Let me ask you guys this. Why are they called that? Why is the news media called the fourth estate sometimes? What are the other three? If they're the fourth one, then what are the other three estates? Anybody know? Okay, that's a reference to our system of government. Okay, there's a hint. How is our system of federal government set up, you guys? How did the holy framers design our system of government? This is 11th grade, right, you guys? Is it still 11th grade where you get taught American history and government? Is that 11th grade? I don't know. I didn't finish high school. I dropped out in the 11th grade. So I'm guessing based on the experience of my children who did not drop out. Anybody know? What is the structure of our federal government, you guys? Does my question make sense? Do you understand my question? Jenny, do you understand my question? Jenny, are you there? Deanna, were you going to speak? Oh,
Yes,
go
I'm
ahead,
here.
Jenny, sorry. Do you understand my question, Jenny?
Yes.
Sort of.
Sort of, sorry.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Thank you for letting me know. It's better that you let me know you don't understand my questions than have me just feel abandoned out here.
Do you mean like the separation of powers?
Sorry, Deanna. Huh?
You mean like the separation of powers? Like
Yes.
the judiciary?
Yes. Thank you. I was trying to figure out a way to ask the question that wouldn't give it away. The separation of powers. That's how they structured our federal government, right? There are 3 branches of governments, right, you guys? What are they?
Executive, judicial, and legislative.
Yes, legislative. That's the 3rd one. Executive, judicial, and legislative. Those are the 3 branches of government. And Leah doesn't know anything about politics. Well, hopefully you're internalizing internalizing this conversation, Emilio. Yes, those are the 3 branches of U.S. government. Okay, and the guys who designed it that way, right? Designed it that way on purpose to separate power, right? Because they came from a place where there was just one guy in power, and they didn't like that. A monarchy. Mono means one. Archy means power, right? So we're supposed to have a democratic republic. That's what we're supposed to have. That is representative of the people. All right, but there needs to be someone in charge. So that's why we have the executive, the person who executes, right? Like the head of a company, right? But there's a bunch of other people doing work in that company too. All right, so the president is the executive, and that his branch is the executive branch. And then there's the judicial branch, which is our huge justice system, right? And then there's the legislative branch. That's where the laws are supposed to get made. Notice I'm using the conditional here a lot. That's where the laws are supposed to get made. And those are the people that represent us in the legislative branch. We vote for them, we send them there to make laws that we want. All right? And the people who designed that system designed it that way so that no one entity would have too much power. Right? They didn't like the idea of a just straight ahead democracy because that gives the masses too much power. Pardon me, I have to plug in. There we go. That gives the masses too much power. And they were afraid of the masses having too much power. They didn't want the people to have too much power. All right, so they gave us a little bit of power, right? Not even as much power as we should have, as we were saying before with the Electoral College. And then, you know, somebody has to make judgments about what the law is that the legislature makes, and that's the judicial branch. And then the president just has to execute everything, make everything happen. But they didn't want the president to have too much power either because of where they came from. Does that make sense, you guys? Their president was a tyrant, the British president. Most of the people who made our system were British. in origin. Okay, does that make sense? So those are the first three estates, the three branches of government. All right, and this is important for you to understand why the news media is referred to this way as the fourth estate. Because that puts the role of the news media in the healthy functioning of our system of government on the same level as those other three branches of government. It is as important, okay, that it work as it is important that those other three work for our system to work, for our system to continue working, right? And, you know, I would argue if I was writing essay 3 that the fourth estate is not working right now. It's not doing its job to inform us, the citizens in this system, who have a job to do too, as I was ranting about previously, one of which is voting. That's just one job of citizenship in this country, is to vote. Then you have to stay informed. And you can't do that if the fourth estate isn't doing its job. Does that make sense, you guys? If all they're doing is obfuscating, thank you, Deanna. If all they're doing is obfuscating and declarifying rather than clarifying issues for us, then we can't do our job, right? We can't even do our job. We can't keep an eye on them and make sure they do their job. The news media is supposed to tell us what they are doing clearly so that we can understand it, so that we can do our job and decide whether or not we want to continue to support them and their policies, or whether we want to kick them out and get somebody new in there. And then the news media has to tell us what those new people say they will do and tell us that in a clear way. Okay? If you watch the first debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, okay, you saw Donald Trump obfuscating up a storm, right? He is a chaos machine. Why? Because he doesn't really know what he's doing, you guys. I'm sorry, but it's just true. He just makes stuff up. He makes stuff up on the fly. He doesn't even think about it beforehand. He's shooting from the hip all over the place. And a lot of people are dying because of it. Sorry. Does that make sense? So that was all about the fourth estate. The fourth estate. Okay. So that's what's at stake here. That's why we're talking about this. That's why we're talking about the news media and the piss poor job they're doing generally. Some news media are doing a good job. All right, but I would argue that at least in 2016, most of them utterly failed, especially CNN, which just played Donald Trump's rallies beginning to end, right? He didn't go on CNN and answer questions. They just played his rallies. Why did they do that, you guys? Why did CNN play Donald Trump's rallies? What are those things like? Have you seen any clips of a Donald Trump rally or watched any of them? No, nobody? Alexandra, thank you for typing a response. Okay. They're crazy. They're like a crazy reality show, right? Lots of yelling, lots of conflict, lots of name calling, lots of lying, okay, lots of obfuscating at those rallies. They're entertaining, right? If you like Donald Trump, you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. If you don't like Donald Trump, you're like, right? But people love to look at a train wreck, right? Think about the freeway, you guys, when there's a car crash. What do people do? They slow down and they stare at it, right? So either way, that's a win for CNN. And again, because it's a money game, people are going to watch their programming. Okay, that's why they did it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There, after that rant. Thank you. Sorry. Looks like I drove a couple people away with my ranting. All right. Anyways, So those are just the terms. Okay, are we past time, you guys? No, we go to 11:05, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so let me share my screen again with you. Okay, so those were the terms. Then I asked you guys to analyze fallacies in Outfoxed, in Fox, on the part of Fox News specifically. Because there's some fallacies in the documentary itself and the people who made the documentary. Okay, but I'm asking you about the clips of Fox News that you guys saw in the documentary. What fallacies did you see? Steve, are you still there? No? Maribel, how about you? Did you see any fallacies in Fox News?
I put some, but I'm not sure.
Okay, give me an example. That's fine. You don't have to be sure, you guys. I mean, this is part of the learning process. All right, so the fallacies are explained in chapters 9 and 11, right? And I suggested you guys just skim it before you watch the documentary so you would have a good understanding of what a fallacy is. Did you see anything you recognize as a fallacy, Emilio, in the
Let me
documentary?
check.
Sorry, go ahead.
When I don't know who said it, but it was John Kerry has Kim Jong Il on his side. Barbara Streisand. What could go wrong?
Okay, good. Good. What kind of fallacy do you guys think that is? So he's talking about John Kerry, right? Or the person who made that comment that Emilio is talking about was talking about John Kerry. But was that person who said that thing about John Kerry talking about John Kerry's policies or his argument for why he should be president?
I don't remember exactly.
He wasn't, right? He was talking about John Kerry as a person, right? He was trying to smear John Kerry by saying that the leader of North Korea, who back in 2004, Fox News thought was a terrible person. But now that Donald Trump likes him, Fox News doesn't say anything about Donald Trump being friends with Kim Jong-il, who is the leader of North Korea. Isn't that ironic? Okay, but yeah, that's a ad hominem fallacy, you guys, right? Attacking a person. The book calls it a personal attack, where you attack a person rather than their argument. Okay, so that was an example of the ad hominem or personal attack fallacy. And again, the purpose of all of these fallacies is to obfuscate, to confuse people, right? To mislead people on purpose about what the truth is. All right, so what are some others you guys saw?
Another example of personal attack would be the interview of O'Reilly again with Glick when he called Glick like when he made a comment like, "I'm sure your beliefs are sincere, but what upset me is I don't think your father would be approving, and also I hope your mother or your mom isn't watching this."
Yeah. Oh my God, O'Reilly is such a piece of work. Do you guys know what happened to him? This is an aside. It's not related to what we're talking about. Do you guys know what happened to Bill O'Reilly? Anybody? He got fired because Fox News got tired of paying women to be quiet about sexual harassment. Actually, no, that's not what happened. He got fired because one of the accusations that he sexually harassed a woman became public. That's why he got fired. So he doesn't work there anymore. But it's not necessarily a better place because of that. Okay, but anyway, that was, as I said, unrelated. Back to what Jenny was saying. Yeah, he attacked Glick personally, right, Jenny? He attacked him personally by saying your mother and father would disapprove of you. Like, it's completely inappropriate for O'Reilly to do that. And it's attacking Glick personally rather than answering what Glick was saying, right, about George W. Bush. And George W. Bush and that administration funding the people who attacked the towers in New York City, who attacked our country. They gave them the weapons. They gave them money. Okay, anyway. But O'Reilly didn't want to talk about that, right? So he attacked Glick instead. And that is a great example of personal attack. Any other examples, you guys? Of fallacies, different kinds that you noticed on Fox? No? Okay, let's move on. Let's see. What is the Fox effect? Anybody know? If you got it, it's getting to the point where if you guys aren't gonna tell me, right? I'm just gonna move on because this is taking a little bit too long. Anybody know what the Fox effect is? This is something that you're gonna need to talk about in your essay. That's why I asked you all of these things. All of these things are things you're gonna need to do in your essay. I put the Fox effect in quotes because it's something that they talk about explicitly. They refer to it this way in the documentary. Nobody? Okay, let's see. What is the war on journalism that the film accuses Fox News of waging?
I guess it's eliminating the true essence of broadcasting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We were saying before that traditional journalism, right? Its job as the fourth estate is to inform the audience on matters of importance, right? Its job is not to make its own argument about what's happening, right? That it's not supposed to be doing viewpoint. It's not supposed to be only opinion. All right. And Fox News, its very existence is a war on that. They're trying to destroy that at Fox News. They want to make everything a matter of opinion. And that's a quote from the documentary. Because if everything is a matter of opinion, right? Opinions aren't arguable, right, you guys? Have you guys ever tried to use facts to convince somebody of something? And that person is just immune to your facts? And you know your facts are real facts. They're valid facts. You have evidence to support them. And people are like, no, this is my opinion, and that's just it. Because opinions aren't debatable, right? Facts are. I mean, facts and opinions are not debatable. All right, and people who hold opinions, strong ones, cannot often be swayed. If you guys did the learning to recognize, if you guys did the miscellaneous critical thinking concepts assignment, the backfire effect is one of the things you're asked to define in that. And the backfire effect is what happens in a person's brain, as you probably know, when they're confronted with facts that challenge their worldview, right? That challenge the way that they have been living their lives, their very existence, the foundation of it. If they're presented with facts that challenge that, then they hunker down and protect, right? And they block those facts. the cartoon that I showed you, that I gave you guys, let me go there and show you this cartoon. Here it is. Here's the backfire effect. The oatmeal is great. If you guys don't know the oatmeal, you should get to know the oatmeal. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down to the part where he gets into the backfire effect. I put the fur in First Amendment. Get it? Wood. Oh my gosh. All right. Here we go. Here's the little guy. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Stay with me. There's the backfire effect. There's your brain. And there this guy's built his little house based on these things: religion, tradition, upbringing, peer group. This person's a dog person. Don't try to tell them about cats, okay? Hates cilantro. My husband hates cilantro. I don't get it. Life experiences, all of these form, right, our foundation, our worldview. And then you're all happy, right? Your brain tries to protect that place. Here comes a new idea tooting at you. And you're like, no, I have to protect my place. And then you build this huge barricade around your little worldview so that nothing can get in there and break it. No facts, right? No facts are coming in here that might disturb this structure that you build. And that's what this says. That's why we have it. Okay, so if you've ever wondered why facts don't work on some people, that's one of the reasons why. Okay, so the war on journalism is a war on fact-based, objective reporting, because the people at Fox News who are pushing a conservative viewpoint often can't win that war. They can't win that debate. So they're just going to destroy it. They're going to make it so that nobody knows what's true. Okay? Fake news is a war on journalism, you guys. Are you familiar with that phrase, fake news? Have you heard it before? Give me a thumbs up if you're familiar with fake news as a phrase. Thank you, Deanna. Anybody else? Maribel, Steve, Pedro, thank you. Marcella, are you familiar with the phrase fake news? Thank you, Maribel. Thank you, Marcella.
Our president likes to use those terms to debunk a lot of arguments against him.
That's right, right? And he knows what he's doing. He is part of the war on journalism. He's trying to destroy the credibility of the news media, primarily those people that, as Diona just said, are critical of him, who have their facts about what he's doing, right? And you know, he'll just straight up deny he ever said a thing that's on tape and call that thing fake news. Okay? So that's what the documentary says Fox News is trying to do. It's trying to destroy journalism too. Okay, let's see. How am I with my time here? Oh, I'm not good. I have to stop this, okay? And I got to go back to our agenda and look at that with you guys. Let's see. Minimize. And we did not get through our agenda because we spent too much time trying to talk about Fox questions for analysis. But look at this assignment. This is your Essay 3 news framing assignment. And as usual, there's lots of words here. You need to read them all. Here's a definition of the fourth column, which you need to understand. We'll talk about it next week. All right. Let me see. I think you need to pick a news story. So I should talk about that. Yeah, your proposed topic. All right, so let me go to that in this assignment sheet. Here's the assignment. The part of the assignment that explains how to pick a news story. You need to pick a single national news story. and then research how it's been covered by these 5 major news organizations. One from each of these 5. One report from each of these 5. So you have to pick, right, a story that is hard news, not soft news. Whoops, I highlighted the wrong thing. And that is national in scope. One that has been covered in all of these publications. So there are some local stories that go national, that start as a local story. The Parkland High School shooting started as a local story. It just happened in a local high school. But it went national because it touches on some issues that are of national concern, gun control and gun violence. So it got picked up by all, reported on by all of these major news organizations. So do those 2 criteria for picking a single news story make sense, you guys? It's got to be national and it's got to be hard news. Yes, I'm running out of time, so I'll just take your non-response as an affirmation that you understand. All right, and then what else? Let me see what else you need to do between now and when I see you again. And you need to submit that. This is an article you need to read and answer questions about. All right, and then this is optional. This is something I just added. You don't have to do it, but I'll show it to you. Okay, let me move my Zoom window again. Let me put it over here. Okay, so this is just a page of information explaining the difference between mis and disinformation so that you can understand it. And the reason I made this, I've been thinking about making it for a while, but the reason I just went ahead and did it is because, guys, foreign agents are trying to interfere in our election. And they're trying to do that by disinformation, by further confusing us about what's real and true about the candidates. Okay, so you need to learn how to recognize that, and that's what this is about. But you don't have to do it. If you do it, you'll get extra credit. All right, and then this I have to talk to you about, and I'm out of time. So I'll make a video and post it to talk to you about this. This is source reports, and this is an important assignment that everybody should do. So I'll make a video about that one. Okay, all right, and I'll let you go. It's 11:05. But you guys, next time I need more people participating. As you can see, this isn't working. We're not getting through the material fast enough if you guys don't participate. Thank you to those of you who did. I really appreciate it. Okay, but the rest of you need to get in there and participate. That's what participation means. All right. I'm going to stop talking and go ahead and end this. And I'll make that video about source reports, which everybody should watch, because those are worth a lot towards your grade. Okay, see you next week, and get a hold of me if you have any questions about topic selection for SRA3, source reports, or anything else that's going on.
Thank you.